What's up, guys? We're back to more Katawa Shoujo. I think the last day... Right, I pressed Emmy. Boop. And then we already did all this. So we can skip past this, and we woke up in the morning. We're back to the spot. Here we go. Emmy, how are your legs? They're fine. It doesn't help that I had trouble sleeping last night. There were simply too many things to think about. My mind refused to slow down. Instead, I replayed the rooftop, the park, and everything else over and over in my mind. There's a small part of my mind that is still paranoid that this has all been some kind of joke. That I'll meet up with Emmy at the track and she'll act like nothing happened yesterday. Pushing these thoughts to the back of my mind, I throw on my running shoes and open the door. Emmy's waiting for me with her usual smile. You're late. Or at least you're not early today. Are you tired or something? I find myself ruefully rubbing the back of my head. Am I sure we're not alive? Not dead today? Oh. No, sunlight's okay. It's not burning me today. Oh yeah, I wasn't kidding about Katawa Shoujo. This is our third day of Katawa Shoujo. We're on Emmy route. Something like that. Allie Man with a 20-month resub. Thank you so much for those 20 months. Welcome back to the super family. Lots to think about and all that. Emmy giggles at my mild understatement. Yeah, I didn't sleep that well either. Maybe I can help you with that. Or maybe I'll keep you up all night, Emmy. I was actually glad you weren't early because I wasn't early either. I wondered if the same thing kept us awake. The image of her weeping face pressed through my mind. What kept you up? Emmy's expression falters, but she quickly notices my curiosity and forces a smile. Nothing important. She's obviously not telling me something. The question is, should I press the issue? Something's clearly been bothering her. I want to help her, but would it come off as me being nosy? She's got to know I care about her, though. Are you sure? If something's bothering you, I'm here to help you sort it out. Hearing Emmy over and over again confuses you? Is your name Emmy? Emmy laughs, but it's not her usual laugh. There's an edge to it that seems almost bitter. Sorted out? I'm not sure it can be sorted out, Hisao. An almost grin smile crosses her lips. Is this a classic dating game? There's a bit of a twist to Katawa Shoujo. There's a bit of a twist to Katawa Shoujo than your regular dating game. It's a smile of resignation. I don't think you could help me anyways. That hurts. I don't want to say it hurts, but it does. Doesn't she realize I want to be there for her when things go wrong? Because, like Emmy and May and May. I'm here for you if you decide later that you'd like to talk about it. It might help. I can see the debate raging behind Emmy's eyes. It seems like she wants to tell me, but she's not sure whether or not she can. Hey, forget about it for now, right? Let's go running. The mention of running, something that she can handle, brings Emmy back to her usual self. Right! Hurry up and stretch out. We've got to get moving. She takes off like a shot, far quicker than I'm used to. Still, I try to keep pace with her, recklessly testing my limits. It gives me a feeling of freedom, like my heart is no longer important. I find myself wanting to laugh, filled with a feeling of moving beyond what I once called my boundaries. The nurse's warnings to not overdo things echo my mind, and I disregard them. This feeling I have, this willingness to risk a heart attack for something so trivial as the morning run, feels so out of character for me. But is it? Oh, Midori. Look, Midori, there's nothing wrong with these girls, okay? They're people too. I've got a weak heart, sure. It'll never be capable of the kind of speed and endurance Emmy's capable of, though I probably won't be able to get that good even if I had a healthy heart. As we round the final bend, I feel my legs screaming in protest, but for the first time, I ignore them. I accelerate to finish at a sprint, nearly catching up to Emmy. That was never going to happen, of course. Still, I feel surprisingly good. Oh, sure, my legs feel like they're about to catch fire, and I'm having trouble staying upright. But there's been a shift of some sort today. And that's all thanks to the girl grinning at the finish line waiting for me. That felt a little faster than usual. That's what she said. My comment is met with a grin and a shrug. Hey, can't have you think I was going to go soft on you now, can I? But you managed to handle it just fine. Well, I couldn't have done it without you. Still feeling the high from my run and moved by a surge of gratitude, I seize Emmy in a hug. Thanks. Really, I'm not just saying that. I'm in your debt. Emmy seems flustered by my words, squirming uncontrollably. Don't be silly, Hisao. Someone had to haul you out there, didn't they? Out here? It's not like you're not going to do anything for me, right? I need a running partner, remember? I shake my head still pointedly, not letting go of Emmy, who stops squirming and merely looks up to me with a quickly deepening blush that almost seems out of character. No, that's not true. You wanted a running partner, but you didn't need one. Instead, you got a life partner. If I hadn't shown up the day of the festival, you'd still run, right? But it wouldn't work the other way around. I only managed to make it out a few times before the festival, and without you, I probably would have made it out at all. Emmy smiles at me and prods my chest with one finger. You're pretty lazy, Hisao. Hey, yes I am. Well, you're welcome, I guess. I'll pay you back somehow. Well, that's not necessary, you know? I mean, I kinda like you. And being able to run with you in the mornings isn't exactly a bad deal for me either. For someone who gets so much praise, she seems unused to gratitude. I can't think of anything else to say, so we fall silent. I become aware of Emmy's breathing, of the dampness of her clothing, and of the scent of her. Ah, more strawberries. Coming off of Emmy, it fits her in a way nothing else could. Her skin is cool, slick with sweat, and a breeze causes goosebumps to rise. Almost without thinking about it, I lean down and meet Emmy's mouth, which has already moved to meet my own. Her lips are soft and she hums happily as we kiss, sending vibrations from her mouth to mine. There is a startling rightness to everything about this moment. We fit one another perfectly. The kiss ends, and I finally let my arms drop back to my sides. Emmy is smiling warmly at me and giggles again. Come on, Hisao, we better go see the nurse. Then it happens. Emmy! I leap to steady her and notice with some concern she's favoring the same leg as last night. Your leg! Emmy seems panicked and pushes away from me. It's fine. My expression seems hurt because she hastens to apologize. Sorry. Didn't mean to push you like that. She stumbles for something to say. It's nothing, really. Don't worry about it. She's so flustered I decide to shrug the whole thing off. But there's a cold feeling in the pit of my stomach now that won't go away. I tried to step in and help her and she pushed me away. Smiling, I shoved these thoughts to the back of my mind and concentrate on Emmy. I just don't want you getting hurt, that's all. You don't have to worry about me, honest. I'm fine. Yes, you say that, but I don't believe you. Why won't you tell me what's wrong? It's like she gets offended by my trying to help. What am I supposed to make of that? I'm still trying to sort out what happened on the track as we arrive in front of the nurse's office. Emmy raises her hand to knock, hesitates, and turns to me, smiling gently. Hey, can you do me a favor? Can you tell the nurse I'll see him later? I just remembered I got some stuff to take care of before class, so I really need to get moving. No, you don't, you fucking liar, Emmy. I peer at her closely, and she fidgets under my stare. She's clearly just avoiding a nurse. No, shut up. Be a good boyfriend and tell Emmy to get that shit checked out. Okay. Emmy looks like I just given her a pony for Christmas. Thanks so much. You're the best. I am rewarded for my complicity with her lie by a kiss that makes it all worth it, so I tell myself. As Emmy heads out of the building, trying hard not to let her limp show, I knock on the door of the office. I don't see Emmy with you. She's not sick again, is she? From the tone of his voice, I don't think the nurse is expecting me to say, yes, she is ill. She said she'd forgotten to do something and she had to skip out, but she'll see you later today. The nurse heaves an exasperated sigh. Honestly, that girl. She's been avoiding me. Yesterday she was in and out of here without even taking off her prosthetics. And now this. Still, I feel like I should say something about her leg. I said I'd lied to her, but she really needs to see him. She's been limping pretty badly today. And last night as well. Nurse's eyes narrows at the words last night. And what exactly were you two doing last night? We're on a date. Nurse raises his eyebrows as if surprised. Really? Interesting. Huh? Oh, nothing. His gaze turns thoughtful and he grins at me. You don't think you could use some of that boyfriend charm to get her to come see me today, could you? Of course. I was planning on doing that anyways. I think she really is hurt. It's just pretending she isn't. She does that. Afraid I'll make her stop running. Will you? I don't like to, but if it's bad enough that she's been limping, well, I guess I'll have to see what's wrong with myself and make that call. Emmy not allowed to run? Perish the thought. I don't know if she'd be able to function without running. No wonder she's reluctant to admit anything's wrong. Well, I'll make sure she sees you. Good, before I forget. He grins. Don't forget I know what medications you're on. You be careful around Emmy, got it? Got it. Use protection. Right? I hate for you to be late. To class? Oh, late isn't the late. It sounded better in my head. Well, at any rate, get out of here before you miss your first class. I don't even know if he did a checkup. I think we just talked about Emmy and left. Mako, your daughter's being a pain in the ass. I better head back to my room or I really will be late. Yeah, he did check my heart rate. Huh. The lunch bell sounds and I bring myself out of the stupor I slipped into during the morning classes. My lack of sleep last night, coupled with the increased pace of this morning's run, left me exhausted. Despite that, I find myself skipping stairs up to the roof. There's a thrill of excitement now in addition to the pleasure one gets from eating lunch with one's friends. True, both Emmy and Rin are still my friends, but Emmy has become much more than that now. Rin is back in her usual spot, almost as if she's never been absent. Feeling better, I take it? A raised eyebrow is my reward for speaking. Better than what? Better than you felt yesterday? Rin gives my question some serious thought. I'm not sure. I think I might have felt rather good for some of yesterday, but it's all fuzzy. Too much cold medicine? Well, I was asleep, and that usually is pretty good. I'm getting used to the music for each of the girls, like Rin's music. Rin's music's fun. I can't remember what it feels like to be asleep because I'm not conscious of it. It's a real problem. Then again, if I knew how good it felt, I might not sleep anymore. But this way, I keep trying, so I guess that's how I keep from being overtired. An eternal mystery to keep you sleeping at night? Maybe mystery is the wrong word. Intangibility might be the proper way to describe it. I see. No, I don't see at all. I have no idea what she's talking about. Do you remember what sleeping feels like? Like yesterday. Do you remember what you felt like sleeping yesterday? Well, I actually didn't get a lot of sleep yesterday. That's because you remember subconsciously. Actually, I was worrying about Emmy. Doesn't Emmy worry enough about herself? I hadn't considered about that. It gives me pause. True. But would she ask for help if she needed it? Rin frowns and I raise an eyebrow. Will I get a proper answer? Probably not. There's something she should be asking for help with. Her legs, for starters. What legs? This seems to catch Rin's interest. Legs? What legs? It's hurt, but she won't see the nurse about it. Rin shakes her head in disapproval. You have to make her. Like she makes me go to class for her own good. Otherwise, she could lose her legs again, and that's just too weird. Losing things twice. Especially if you don't find them again to begin with. Unless prosthetics are the same as finding something. But that's a different kind of loss, isn't it? Oh, Rin, you're... Like... Rin is gonna be such a stoner. Maybe she already is. Wonder what? Emmy seems to have snuck up on Rin and me, though Rin doesn't seem especially surprised. Which, in itself, is unsurprising, I suppose. Rin manages to sit herself upright expertly, throwing her upper body forward, using her momentum to right herself. How's it feel? That earns me a frown and a bit of a glare. It's okay, I think. Not worth worrying about. Tell that to the nurse. He's quite insistent you visit him, you know. Emmy pouts like I just told her she's been grounded. He worries too much. It's not a big deal, it's just a little soreness. I tried to resist rolling my eyes in exacerbation. If it's nothing, then you should have no problem seeing him, right? Emmy's narrow her eyes suspiciously. Did he put you up to this? Well, maybe a little, but that's not the point. I would have reminded you to see him anyways. It would be terrible to see you really hurt and not do something about it. That'll make it worse, and I really don't want to see you hurt, you know? Call me crazy, but I would kind of prefer to see you happy and healthy. With each statement, Emmy's frown fades a little until eventually she's grinning, albeit a little shy. Well, if you're going to put it that way, I guess I have to see him. Otherwise, you'll keep worrying I'll never hear the end of it, right? That's right, I'll keep bugging you about it, and that might put a damper on our dates. How's the food, Sal? Talk to the nurse, Emmy. How's your day, Sal? Talk to the nurse, Emmy. Oh, I see what's going on. I think you're ready to go. I am ready to go all the way. Emmy giggles at my high-pitched rendition of her own voice and gives me an affectionate shove. I'm ready to go all the way too, she says. I thought it was pretty accurate. Oh, that's the first time we've seen that face. It's cute. Emmy and I stare at Rin for a while before I burst into laughter. Emmy crosses her arms and huffs, mock offended. You're both jerks. Such vile calumnies from you, young woman. I'm stunned that you would call me, of all people, a jerk. Honestly, I don't know what to think. Emmy sticks her tongue out at me. You ass. So, Rin, how's the art club these days? Rin, seemingly as surprised by this sudden change of topic as I am, takes a minute to think before answering. I believe it's okay. Although, Nomiya keeps telling me to work harder. But I don't think he understands my methods. He's always struck me as slightly creepy. Rin ponders this statement for a while. I've never really noticed. But I don't pay much attention to him most days, so maybe that's why. How often do you meet? Thinking of joining his Sal? What? Nah. What club? Track and field? Which one? Not much of a club, to be honest. You joined the T club? The science club. Oh, yeah, with our sensei. Emmy looks highly confused. We have a science club? It's just me. That's not a club. That's sitting in a new room, reading books. It's me and Mutuo. I think he likes me. Mutuo, really? A thought strikes her. Oh, is that what you were talking about yesterday? Your meeting with Mutuo? Poor Rin. Rin has gotten third wheeled so hard. Yeah, that was our first meeting, I guess. Emmy giggles. Nerd. Hey, I can't help being clever. You know, I could have used your help years ago. You should have had your heart attack earlier in life, Sal. I laughed and realized it's probably one of the rare moments I've laughed about my heart attack. Hindsight. Yeah. The ringing of the bell ends our conversation. Guess we better go. Rin's not even talking to me anymore. Come on, Rin, you too. Rin has begun to doze off. Emmy gives her a sharp bump. I almost had it. Sorry, but you need to go to class. Whoa. How'd she get so tall? Changing locations is sometimes helpful for that kind of thing. Neither Emmy nor I bother asking what it is. As we arrive at my classroom, Emmy gives me a quick kiss and heads down the hallway, Rin in tow. I turn into the classroom, but I'm met by the duo, by Shizune and Misha. Misha seems to be fighting a losing battle to keep from breaking into fits of giggles, while she translates Shizune's latest rant. While we are pleased, nay thrilled to see you have managed to make new friends and forge relationships with such a cutie too, Hit-chan. I think that last part was probably Misha. We nevertheless feel compelled to politely remind you that public displays of affection are strictly forbidden. Really? That's disappointing, Shi-chan. By Section 8 of Code of Conduct laid out by Student Handbook. Ugh, such a stickler for the rules. Van Gogh, right? That's truly great artwork down there. Van Gogh. In this case, however, ignorance of the law may be your excuse as we are feeling lenient. And the paperwork required to punish you both would only add to the already mountainous volumes of work which confronts us, the sole members of the student council. Besides, you two are adorable together. Therefore, consider this a formal warning, and please refrain from such displays in the future, at least when Shizune can see you. The whole spiel is so patently ridiculous that I can't help but reply in the same pompous manner. Well, I for one feel enlightened. I apologize profusely for my rash actions, and will strive to contain my baser impulses, which I fear impel me towards such inappropriate displays of public affection. It is hardly my wish to burden an already overworked student council with such petty manners, and I will do my best to make your lives easier in this matter in the future. At least when Shizune is watching. The last line is delivered with a wink to Misha, who finally loses control of her laughter. Wah! Well said. Chuckling a little to herself, we enter the classroom. Or myself. Class is uneventful. So, it looks like we've all assembled for the second meeting of the science club. Or is this the first? What do you think? Should we count yesterday as a meeting? Well, did we form a club yesterday? That seems like club business, so we can safely call yesterday a meeting. Mutuo smiles in his usual stilted and awkward way. I wonder if the muscles in his face are not just shaped correctly to let him smile naturally. You really do have a knack for this, I think. Logical thought process. I don't know if I said it already, but what's up again, Miko the Frico? I guess so. A scientist speaks with authority, Hisao. The answer here is yes, I do. The world wants to know how it works, we tell it, even if all we've got is a decent hypothesis. But we must sound certain anyways because we're the authorities on the subject, right? He chuckles to go along with his awkward smile at his awkward joke. I'm doing my best not to grimace, but I don't think I'm being too successful. That's entirely false, of course. We know a lot, sure, but nobody's an expert on how the world works. If only because nobody can be sure with no certainty, there are no experts. But we like to pretend. There's some things we can be certain of, right? We know gravity's there, for example. To illustrate, Muto picks up a pencil and drops it. See? Still there. That's why you'll see researchers mucking about with gravity. We're pretty sure we know how it works, but there's always a chance that something isn't how we think it is. So you check. That's science in a nutshell. The whole time I've listened, feeling rather spellbound. Muto seems like he'll really be passionate about this stuff. I think. It's hard to tell sometimes. How the world works. How humans work. How the universe works. All these questions to be answered. And depending on where I go into, maybe I could even figure out a way to fix my heart. Besides, as we start discussing the book he gave me yesterday, I find myself more and more interested in that than my heart condition. Before you even realize it, an hour has gone by. Well, let's call this meeting over, okay? We'll have another meeting tomorrow or the day after. Call it the day after. I've got a lot of grading to do. Alright, see you then. As I exit the classroom, I realize I don't really have anything to do tonight. Emmy and I didn't make plans, so I guess I'll go to the library. It beats doing homework in my room anyways. The library already seems cooler than the rest of the building. Probably to keep books from getting damaged from excessive heat and humidity. Books are sturdy objects, but you want to keep them in good condition. I've got several books that are so well worn the pages are barely clinging to the spine. It seems impossible for them to be still usable, but if you handle them with care, I'll make my way to the main desk where I spot Yuko, busying herself with something or another. She smiles at me as I enter and waves. Hey. How does me guessing the posters work? What are you talking about? You're just talking about like how I was able to guess them in a row? I can see the future, that's all. What are you looking for this time? Nothing in particular, I guess. I just didn't really feel like going back to my room. Yuko nods. Well, if you're unoccupied, maybe you could help me look for something. What do you need? Come closer. I need someone to help me with this itch in my vajay. I take a few hesitant steps forwards while feeling distinctly unnerved. Yuko lowers her voice in a confidential whisper. I'm on the trail of the Yamaku cat burglar. The what? The walls have ears, Hisao. Or they might. But listen, those missing books, remember them? Well, they weren't missing, they were stolen! I'm convinced. I remember you saying something of the sort earlier, but how do you know? Because I found one of his hiding places. You did what? I found one of his stashes. It was under one of the stairwells in the boys' dorm. 3 books I've been looking for, all there. I had suspected a thief before, but this proves it. So, did you take back the books? Yuko looks as if I suggested we walk around naked. Are you nuts? He can't know I'm onto him. He might go to ground and evade capture. What do you think you might help with? Yuko casts another glance around the library and leans in closer. You've got to spy for me. Yeah, when you're in the dorms. Keep an eye out for suspicious activity. What constitutes suspicious anyways? I mean, Kenji's a pretty suspicious dude. What's the harm in saying yes? At the least, it'll get me out of this weird conversation. Yeah, no problem. Great. Now hurry up and talk about something else in case someone comes in. How's the school treating you? Pretty well, actually. I've been running in the mornings with... Emmy. Oh, man, word travels fast. How'd you know? Because you were at the date. I deduced if you're going to run with anyone, it'd probably be her. She looks pleased. Impressive. Anyways, yes, we've been running in the mornings, and we're kind of started dating. You go clasp her hand together excitedly. Really? That's great. I bet you two are great together. I love seeing people find one another like that, you know? I even thought to myself when you walked into Shanghai one time, I wonder if that kid will wind up with one of these girls. Really? Yuko doesn't seem to notice my somewhat weirded out tone and nods affirmatively. Yep, I could tell you'd wind up with one of them, you know? I've got an eye for that sort of thing. Of course. Her expression droops slightly. I'm not so great at it myself. I'm not sure that's true. Oh, it's true. I met this guy once. We got along really great, but it turns out he was younger than me. Like, high school age. What's really weird is that he disappeared one day. I've not seen him since then. Huh, odd. Doesn't it? I hope it wasn't something I did. I feel compelled to reassure her. I'm sure it wasn't. I intend to try and calm her down further, but the both of us jump in surprise at the ringing suddenly coming from my pocket. Yuko sighs to steady herself. As I pull the phone from my pocket, I feel a little sheepish for indirectly causing an incident. Huh. Nice phone. Oh, thank God I hadn't called your phone before, so I didn't know this number would work. Whoa, slow down, Emmy. What's wrong? Is she at the nurse's office? Can you just stop by shortly? I really need to talk to you. There's a tone of pleading in the last sentence I didn't think I've ever heard from her. Of course, be right there. Hold steady. In my increasingly agitated state, I've apparently started saying things that don't quite make sense. I'll be okay. See you soon. I press the button to end the call before slipping the phone back in my pocket. Apologize to Yuko for running off and run off. Perhaps at some point, I would have stopped to think about the time or how suspicious it looks for a guy to enter a girl's dorm at this hour. Except right now, I'm just concerned with getting to Emmy and finding out what's wrong and how I can help her. I knock on the door and greeted with a subdued, "Come in." Something is very wrong as I stare at the scene before me. Emmy's there, yes, but she's in a wheelchair, and her legs are missing. I glance around the room and see them sitting in a corner, looking like they've been thrown there. Emmy responds to my entrance with a lopsided grin that is both pleased to see me and completely, utterly heartbroken. Hey. It looks like she's been crying, but if she has, she stopped now. I notice I'm a little out of breath having taken the stairs 2 at a time in order to get here. My heart doesn't mind the strain, though. I file this happy fact away for later consideration. Like when I'm not staring, somewhat dumbstruck at my girlfriend in a wheelchair. Realizing I've not responded to her greeting, my brain lurches into gear. What happened? Guess I should listen to you, Sal. My leg's got a nasty infection. I'm not allowed to run in it for at least a couple of weeks. She gives a bitter laugh that shouldn't be coming from her. I can't even walk on it. I could have used a crutch to keep kept one of my legs, but I didn't see the point. Why hop? You can't run on one leg. At least this way I still can. I don't know, roll fast or something. That's good, right? My awkward attempt to look on the bright side seems appreciated, but not really effective. Emmy shrugs. It's kind of a nuisance. I mean, we can't even eat up on the roof now. No wheelchair access. It's not a big deal, right? I mean, we can still eat together. That's the important thing. That lopsided grin again, it hurts to look at it. I suppose so. Yeah. But like I said, it's a nuisance. I mean, I haven't really used a wheelchair in 7 years? Something like that? A long time. I'm afraid I'm a bit out of practice. Well, fortunately, it's only temporary, right? Emmy nods. Of course. It's not like I've lost them permanently. Ah! It's a pain in the ass all the time. I nod sympathetically. It's not much else I can do for her after all. What am I gonna do? Say I told you so? My waifu in real life wants to know which picture frame to get. I like the thicker one. Boop. Although I did tell her to get that leg looked at. By the time I noticed, it was too late anyways. Do you need help with anything? That is, can I help you with anything? Emmy shakes her head, but it's a bit of her usual grin back. I can manage by myself. Although, if you want to help me over to my bed, it would save me the trouble of rolling there myself. Emmy giggles. You're such a prude, Hisao. I'm not a prude. I just wouldn't want to take advantage of a young woman such as yourself. It's ungentlemanly. But I'm okay with taking advantage of her now. I wheel Emmy's chair to her bed, easily scoop her up and deposit her there. She quickly sorts herself out and sits on the side. She's actually a little heavier than she looks. Man, you're kind of heavy. Didn't I just... It would be rude of me to observe this aloud. Ah! Emmy hit me with a pillow. Ass. Just saying. Must be all that running. At the mention of running, Emmy's grin falters slightly. Well, I guess I won't have to worry about that for a bit, right? Maybe I'll lose some weight. That's what you do to lose weight? Cease physical activity? I'm pretty sure that's what the nurse would recommend. Speaking of which, are you still going to be showing up in the mornings? I'd hate to run alone. Ah, shit. Emmy's sudden interjection, more a disquieted muttering than anything too profane, caused me to look over in shock. She's leaning forward, trying to cover the fact that she's crying by covering her eyes with her hand. Of course, the subdued sobbing makes it pretty obvious that she's crying. I'm sorry. Forget I said anything, okay? I place a hand gingerly around her and pull her close. I can think of nothing else to say. How do you comfort a girl who's just lost her legs again? Emmy wraps me in a hug and says to stay for a while. And stays that way for a while. Sorry. I'm pretty bad at this whole comforting thing, I guess. Don't say that. I'm fine, really. Her voice is slightly muffled by my chest. I pat her head reassuringly. That's the spirit. You'll get through this fine, I know it. Besides, I'm here to keep helping you, remember? Emmy lifts her head and stares at me with tear-stained eyes. Can you? Can you really? She's grinning lopsidedly and something sparkles in her gaze. I can't tell if I'm being mocked or not. Of course, I mean, you're a bit heavy, but My witty comment is cut off by the sudden press of Emmy's lips onto mine. I'm caught off guard and am rewarded by hitting my head on the wall behind her. Ow. Emmy pulls back, trying to look concerned rather than like she's about to laugh. Are you okay? Sorry. I rub my head ruefully and grin back at her. Caught me off guard there. Is that gonna become a habit? Am I going to be lectured by Shizune and Misha more? Honestly, those two. If I didn't know why, I'd be utter confused as to why she hangs out with someone so bossy. Which one are we talking about? You know exactly which one is Sal. Misha's hardly bossy. What's the reason? The reason why Misha hangs around Shizune? Yeah, why? No idea. Okay. Anyways, you seem to be forgetting the original question. You wouldn't mind giving a guy a little warning, would you? Otherwise, I'm liable to wind up in a concussion. I emphasize the point by rubbing the back of my head. Emmy giggles madly. You could wear a helmet. Some kids here do, you know. Or I could just take revenge. I grab a pillow from beside the bed and whack Emmy over the head. Once again. Once more. Awesome. Emmy topples off the bed and lands on the floor. Her arms promptly reappear on the bed and she manages to pull herself back up. She really has a surprising amount of strength with that little body. Her face is turned upward and away from mine, making me think I might have accidentally hurt her. You okay? A hand shoots up and grabs my collar. She pulls me in with a sharp tug, her face now barely an inch away from mine as she grins cheekily. Emmy? She kills us! Oh my god! And that's how this game ends, with a murder. I sit back and rub my sore head as Emmy smirks victoriously. How's that for revenge? No fair. You can't take revenge for revenge? For someone missing most of her legs, Emmy is surprisingly agile. I swipe at her, but she definitely rolls out of way and lands a hit with her pillow. Of course, the odds are against her. I can stand up, for starters. Woo! Woo! Wait, once more. Guess I can't after all. Emmy seems to be effectively trapping me, and now is sitting primely astride me as I lay on my back. I'm not even sure how she managed it. I win! Her eyes twinkle mischievously as I've been thoroughly defeated, and by a girl that's a fraction of my size at that. Then again, being defeated doesn't seem quite so bad. Emmy being positioned over my cock isn't something that I or my body can ignore easily. I open my lips to speak, but Emmy's head darts downwards to my penis. I give no resistance as she presses her mouth to mine. This is different somehow. She pulls back, nips at my lower lip, and reinitiates the embrace. Her tongue darts inside of my mouth, exploring. I can feel a warmth spreading through my body as my heart begins to beat faster. Oh, guys, I'm gonna have to turn off the webcam. My mind starts to go foggy, and I become vaguely aware of my hand traveling up Emmy's blouse. Emmy gasps as I reach her breast, and then there's a giggle, and then I stare up at a grinning Emmy. Told you. That makes my second win now. What? That doesn't count. You use your feminine wiles. All's fair in love and war, right? And you're even blushing. I didn't know you were a blusher, Hisao. You're blushing too, you know, probably because of your prudish ways. Even I've got to admit this is a stupid thing to say to a woman who's currently straddling me and has been, up until a few seconds ago, playing tonsil hockey with me. A prude, am I? Well then, let's see who blushes first, shall we? I'm not sure whether the tone of her voice terrifies or arouses me, but that question is quickly made moot. Who? I imagine this is what might change. Whoa! Whoops. So, did I blush? I didn't notice. Did I? Emmy shrugs, still breathing a little heavily. Didn't notice either. I suppose something happened in that scene. Well, maybe we should. And then enters Rin. I'll just describe things to you, still looking at Emmy's breasts. My first instinct is to hide, but then I realize that I'm still utterly exhausted and sitting next to a topless Emmy. Exhausted. From what, I imagine? Rin's eyes pass over Emmy and me and focus on the window. There is a cloud. A cloud? Asks Emmy. Rin nods. I was watching it from my window, but it didn't stay in my window. So I need to use your window. Emmy shifts a little, causing me to cough in order to cover up a giggle of my own. How long do you need the window for? Asks Emmy. We're, busy. This time I couldn't contain my laughter. Rin ignores both Emmy and me and peers out the window. Her shoulders slump as she looks disappointed. It changed into something else. Disappointing. Emmy is having trouble keeping a straight face. Sorry to hear that, Rin. Could we have a little privacy now, please? Rin shrugs as if to say, can you, and hooks her foot around the door, pulling it closed behind her. We both dissolve into laughter, unable to deal with Rin's bizarrely themed visit. Or timed visit. After our laughter dies down, I look to Emmy. We're both a total mess. Well. Emmy raises an eyebrow. Well? Again? Whew! Ooh! Oh boy. Emmy grins and laughs and she nods. Should probably ditch the clothes this time. You're naked already! I think it's safe. Oh man, nice! That's 2 times more than in all of Danganronpa. The sunlight breaks through my windows shortly before my alarm ruins the morning silence. I feel sore. The events of the previous evening suddenly intrude upon my consciousness and I find myself blushing. That was an eventful evening and it explains perfectly the soreness in my lower back. The walk back, as I recall, has been rather tense. My trousers having been soiled. I had to wash them off in the bathroom before going back to my room. But there was a fairly obvious looking stain in the front. Fortunate for me, the only person I ran to the back on the way back was Kenji. He didn't notice a thing. Well, apart from my being in the general vicinity, of course he'd ask how the night went and whether or not I'd learned anything of importance. I don't even know if I opened my mouth to answer. I was too tired to care. This morning, I'll admit, I'm feeling pretty worn out. Still, Emmy had promised to meet me at the track and I'd hate to disappoint. She is indeed waiting for me when I arrive, doing her best to look cheery despite the fact that she's sitting in a wheelchair. I wave to her and begin stretching. You're early. She frowns and shakes her head. Ridiculous. You're late. Overslept? All tuckered out? Well, at least she seems more like her old self. And as expected, she doesn't seem shy about mentioning our previous activities. Hey, you're lucky I could show up at all. All that cardiovascular activity last night, I nearly thought I'd have to see the nurse afterwards. Emmy laughs out loud with her face suddenly becomes concerned. That's not a... I mean, you're not... Go on, spit it out. I'm prankers! It's just that I would be hard to explain if you had an episode while you were... Oh! Now that she mentions it, it really is a legitimate concern. I certainly hadn't thought of it last night, of course, while more pressing concerns have been at hand. Well, I don't think anything we do is going to be any more of a strain than these morning runs. Emmy considers his point. Ooh. Sexy. Say. The light vanishes and Emmy grins ruefully at me. I can't help but feeling vaguely suspicious. I seem to have forgotten a pair of gloves. What do we need gloves for? Emmy indicates a chair upon which she's seated. For this, of course. See, I'm sure regularly moving around is all well and good without them, but I want to be able to get a good workout. And to get that kind of speed, you gotta have gloves if you don't want blisters. So what? Are you wussing out on me then? Do I have to go all alone? Emmy thinks for a minute and pretends to think. If I remember right, there's a pair or two in the track shed. So she does seriously want to do it then. In her normal school uniform, I had expected her to wear her gym outfit for something like this. Dude, we're gonna bang in the shed. Wait, what are they doing there? Emmy looks at me. Seriously, you can't think of why a shed full of track supplies at a school for the disabled would have racing gloves? Well, she puts it that way, I suppose that makes perfect sense. Hey, I'm still getting used to this place. Give me a break, okay? Guess I can't let it slide this time. I guess I can let it slide. Come on, I need your help. I can't imagine what for, but then again, I don't have any clue why racing gloves would be in the shed. Emmy navigates her ways to the shed easily enough, though I can hear her grumbling under her breath. It's actually kind of cute. I hurry a little to reach the door first. Opening it would be easier for me than for her. The door opens and Emmy starts to wheel inside, only to come to a sudden halt at the doorway. It seems the door sill is slightly too high for her to get over by herself. She makes a few runs at it, unsuccessfully, before crossing her eyes and glaring at the offending object. Stupid wheelchair. Hisao, can you give me a hand here? Sure, no problem. Ugh, gross. It's a simple matter to bump Emmy over the doorway, jostling her slightly. Hey, easy there. Sorry. It's about this time I failed to notice where I'm going and run Emmy's chair into the mat. Ah! She gives a startled yelp and topples forward out of her chair. There's a moment of silence as I gaze in horror upon what I've done and Emmy glares at me. Hisao, promise you'll never work at a hospital. Sorry. Emmy giggles and holds up a hand. Would you kindly help me back into my chair? As I bend down to pick up Emmy, she grins in triumph and pulls me into a kiss that quickly has us both entirely unconcerned about getting her back into that chair. In fact, as I move to a more comfortable position, I confess that the chair is pushed out the door, which, startled by the passage, swings shut. Ah! God, give me a warning! Oh, damn, you horny fucking kids. Well, at least we got some privacy now, which is a good thing, as my hands work quickly to remove Emmy's blouse and shirt. I'm startled to discover that she's forgotten to put her bra on today. Did she plan this? Her arms hooked under mine and rest on my shoulders as I kiss my way down Emmy's neck, pausing to give special attention to the spot right where the neck meets the shoulders that I had found last night. You're gotten pretty good at that, says Emmy. I do try. Emmy pushes on my chest insistently and I draw back with a puzzled expression. I've got a confession, Hisao, she says. Oh? Having pulled back, I decided instead to focus my attention on her breasts. As she attempts to speak, her words are interspaced with giggles that I find incredibly cute. I don't wear gloves. My own reply is rather mumbled into her chest instead of being addressed to her face. Should have known. Her words quickly become irrelevant. Emmy's movements are more frantic as she's been holding something back since we met this morning and now she has an outlet. I'm very nearly caught off guard by her aggressiveness, feeling her nearly rip my shirt off the way she seems to vie to be in a dominant position. On my part, I confess I'm caught up in her attitude as well, fighting back, rolling and wrestling even as I caress her breasts, even as her fingers dig into my shoulders and I lose track of where we are. So much that I might roll off her the mat and land on something small and rather hard. Ooh, my own penis. Ow! Emmy, still flushed and breathing a little heavily, peers at me and bursts into laughter. It's still the same scene, by the way. It's still just Emmy standing topless in front of us. Shari, are you okay? I think so. Not sure what I landed on, though. I reach under my back to pull the offending object out, inspecting it closely. Personal lubricant, lemon flavored. Oh my. Wait, what? Emmy's eyes shoot upward as she begins, if possible, to laugh even harder. Somehow, I don't think this is track related. Oh man, I know whose that is. Wait, what? It's the track captain's. What? How do you know it's his? It appears I asked a stupid question, or at least Emmy thinks so. Because he's the one who told me the track shed is a good place for, what you call them? Clandestine encounters? He invite you to one or something, I ask? Emmy bursts into more laughter. I confess the sight of a naked Emmy laughing is oddly beautiful. I feel an eagerness to end conversation and get back to what we were doing despite my rather pointed questioning. The track captain's gay. Oh my god, Emmy. Really? And here I initially thought you two were a couple. Well, I did have a crush on him when I first joined up, but he wasn't interested. Obviously. But we were good friends, I guess. I mean, he told me about all this, you know? I hesitate to ask, I say. And really I do, but I ask anyways. But what does he, need the loot for? You fucking idiot. What else do you use lemon-flavored lube for? Emmy says, obviously he uses it for, you know, anal! I try to suppress a snicker. I fail. Emmy's giggling too. And he tells you about all this? Emmy shrugs. Yeah, of course. He's kind of wild about that sort of thing. Says it's a feeling that can't be beat. Uh-huh. The air in the track shed seems charged with some kind of horrible curiosity. Interesting. I suppose I'll have to take his word for it. Damn, day 2 and we're gonna try anal already? The wind dies down, the birds start chirping. Somewhere a man is drinking a cup of coffee. He freezes with his cups on his lips. Emmy says, we could maybe try it? My jaw suddenly and spontaneously unhinges and hits the floor. What? Emmy is finally blushing, rubbing the back of her head ruefully. Well, it's just we can't really do what we did last night, you know. Well, we missed out on that scene, so we don't actually get to know what really happened last night. It wouldn't be safe, you know. It wasn't exactly a great idea last night. Oh yeah, the pregnancy. So, you know, we could try to see if it's as good, I say. Well, yeah, basically, she says. Uh-huh. Whew! Alright, I think it's safe. But I'm gonna switch back. The sudden switch from pleasure to pain caused me to lose my balance, and I fall forwards on top of Emmy. Ow, says Emmy. Ow, I say. I quickly roll off Emmy and prop myself up, breathing heavily and trying to ignore the pain in my crotch. What happened? Did she peg us? Emmy yelps a little as she rolls over. She grabs a couple of the tissues we kept handy earlier and cleans up before getting her panties back on, awkwardly leaning against a wall. Still breathing heavily, I decide to sit against the wall next to her. The feeling of the cool concrete against my sweating back is a welcome sensation. Yep, topless. That hurt at the end, she says. Yeah, probably not a great idea, I said. Emmy squirms in order to try and sit down beside me without too much pain. Judging by her wincing, it really didn't work. Yeah, I'm gonna have words with the captain, says Emmy. He is clearly lying. The utter and absolute ridiculousness of the situation suddenly hits, and I begin laughing. Emmy shakes her head and begins laughing with me. Hey, Hisao, she says. Yeah, I say. Emmy says we're never doing this again, right? I say, yeah, I think my curiosity is satisfied on this one. Emmy nods, satisfied. Good. I think we should maybe stick to the basics. Like vagini. I mean, most of this is new to me anyways. What do you mean, most? I ask. Emmy grins impishly. I'll never tell. An unpleasant thought strikes me. Even more unpleasant the thought of having to ask Emmy about it. Still, after what we've done, it should be a cakewalk. Hey, is there a sink, I ask? I kind of like to wash off a little. Emmy's jaw drops. In the sink? Well, it's not like there's anything else to do, anywhere else to do it, I say. And I want to avoid a smell. The nurse might notice. This is the most awkward conversation I've ever had. You're right, says Emmy. There's one on the back wall. There might be some soap, too. Thanks, I say. There is, in fact, a little hand soap, which is better than nothing. No towel, though. Guess I'll have to drip dry. All finished, Emmy asks. Yeah, that'll do for now. It's not like I'm not going to take a shower after we see the nurse. Glad to hear it, Emmy says. Now help me find my clothes. You toss them somewhere. Hey, you're no better. How am I supposed to explain this hole in my shirt? Dang, aggressive kids. Emmy says, sorry, I got a little excited earlier. It takes some time, but we're finally both more or less clothed. There's a frantic movement where neither of us know where Emmy's wheelchair is, but I recall it being out the door and rescue it. Yay! You can see your game again! Now, be more careful going through this door this time, would you? Bumps are not my friend right now. Whew! Emmy shrugs and grins. It was worth a shot, right? And anyways, it was good exercise. Can't argue that. As we make our way out to the nurse's office, I notice that Emmy keeps shifting uncomfortably in her seat. God, this feels weird, Emmy says. Good thing I'm in a wheelchair, Hisao. Why is that? Because, I don't have to explain to the nurse why I'm walking funny. Oh! We're never doing this again, I say. The nurse is at least kind enough to not comment on the marks that Emmy left on my shoulders. Nor does he say a word about Emmy's constant shifting about in her wheelchair. Either he didn't notice or he doesn't want to notice. At the same time, I'm going to have to make sure he doesn't slip cyanide into my medication. Just to be safe. I shower for longer than usual just to be sure I'm clean of my little experiment, then collapse on my bed. Class is in 20 minutes. I can probably afford a nap. So now that we've banged twice, what else is there to do? Knock knock! Who's there? Knock knock! That's not how the joke goes at all. What day? What is this? I'm slowly catapulted into wakefulness by both the fact that the knocking still hasn't stopped and the fact that it's noon, on a school day. Better not give that excuse to Muto. Sorry, I wasn't in class. I was experimenting sexually with my girlfriend. It tired me out. I answer the door. It's Kenji. Though it appears that Kenji's surprised to see me. What are you doing here, man? While sleeping. Knocked out, I see. I told you to be careful around that Ibarazaki chick. This is the sort of thing that happens when you aren't cautious. He makes an attempt to look at the back of my head. Did she hit you with something? Or was it a drug? Stop touching me. Kenji produces a flashlight and shines it in my eyes. You got a concussion? How does he just have a flashlight? Maybe you just don't remember. This conversation isn't going anywhere. No, I just had a tiring morning and fell asleep. Whatever, man. If you want to be in denial about this, I guess I can't stop you. But you gotta watch out for that girl. She's not safe. She's not safe to be around. She's one of their most sinister agents. If you're not careful, there's no telling what could happen. She's brought down stronger men than you. What are you talking about? She's not an agent of anything. She wouldn't knock me out, okay? I also highly doubt she's brought anyone down at all. Kenji looks offended. I have no idea why. You don't believe me? That's cold. I'm just trying to look out for you. That's what friends are for. I wonder if Kenji knows what being friends even entails. I feel something like pity for him standing there before me. Maybe he does think he's looking out for me. I know. I'm sorry about that. Thanks for the warning. I hold out my hands as a sign of peace. Kenji shakes it gingerly like my hand could possibly be on fire. There's an awkward silence for a few seconds before Kenji remembers that he's still shaking my hand. I need a favor. No, you're not out of money. You've got money kept in your drawer desk under a black notebook. Did you ransack my room? That's not important. I don't need money. A major operation. It'll blow the whole conspiracy wide open. But it's dangerous. I need you to do something for me in case I don't come back. If I go missing, wait 3 days and mail my journal off to the newspapers. It's hidden in my room under a false bottom under one of my drawers. How do I get into your room? So pick the lock. Duh. Of course. I'll do that for you if you go missing. Either way, Kenji seems rather happy I've agreed to do this thing for him. Great, man. I'll see you around. I've got stuff to do. And he's gone, dashing down the hallway. He made it seem so final. I hope I don't have to carry out his final wishes. Shaking my head, I close my door and walk back to my bed. I guess I should go to class, if only to catch the last half of the day. I did want to read more of that Hawking book Muto left me. I'm sure he'll understand. Wow. Ditching class. Experience not unlike being woken up. Who's there? Emmy! The voice is muffled through the door, but unmistakably Emmy's. I hop up and open the door, smiling. Nice to see you again. Emmy grins back, staring at me from her wheelchair. You would have seen me earlier, but the damn elevator wasn't working. Had to wait for them to fix it. You'd think they could keep it in better order, but no. I chuckle a bit by her vexed expression and invite her in. I am totally ready to switch to the scene at any time right now. Much more comfortable with that stupid chair. A sigh of contentment hangs in the air, and for a minute we both just stare at one another. At this point, I notice the circles under Emmy's eyes. They're not that dark, but they definitely weren't there before. Emmy fixes me. A mischievous stare. So, couldn't help but notice you weren't at lunch today. In fact, I don't think I saw you at all. What happened? Fell asleep, I say. I actually didn't wake up until lunch, and only because Kenji woke me up. What tired you out so much? Strenuous workout. Slightly uncomfortable. Emmy coughs, a half laugh, half embarrassed noise. Remind me not to do that again. No problem, it wasn't exactly great for me either, to be honest. We'll just avoid that from now on. You, still sore? Emmy stares at me in disbelief. What? That's a legitimate question. Of all the questions I never thought I'd be asked, that's one of them. I didn't ever expect to ask it, so we're even. Doesn't this game have nudie scenes? We may have hit 2 of them. Just saying. Emmy laughs at this. I guess so, huh? Well, since you've asked, yes, I'm still a little sore from the H scene earlier. We're never doing that again. No arguments from here. A yawn escapes her and I raise an eyebrow. Tired? Emmy nods sheepishly. Or sleepily. Haven't slept well. Not sleeping well. I could tell she didn't mean to tell me this either, because she gives a little start like she's been caught lying and hastens to add, it's not a big deal though. What's the trouble? Emmy shrugs and refuses to elaborate. Stressed over exams? Another shrug, but after a pause, Emmy nods hesitantly. Well, I guess. Actually, that's why I stopped by. She begins to look more and more miserable. Not so you'd notice, of course, but her eyes are on her lap. She's fidgeting and her voice is quiet. We need to stop hanging out so much. Why? Emmy takes a deep breath like she's been practicing this. Because you're too much fun to be around, and I can't concentrate when you're near me. With exams coming up soon, I can't have that distraction. Otherwise, my grades are pretty lousy, I'm afraid. I could help you study, I say. She smiles, clearly unhappy with the situation. I'd love it if you could, but we wouldn't actually study, would we? Oh, no. No. I mean, even now I'm trying to have a conversation with you, but I kind of just want to, Overwhelmed by my rugged manliness, I understand. That earns me a grin at least. Emmy shakes her head. You're so full of yourself. I am pretty irresistible. More or less, I guess. So, that's the situation, Sal. I have too much fun around you. I'm going to go into exams prepared. I need to be alone. That's okay. It seems to have been bothering her. Besides, it's only a couple of weeks and we still see each other in the mornings and at lunch. We can just hang out at school, no problem. And after exams, we'll go on a date to celebrate their being over, okay? Emmy grins, pleased by this proposal. Sure, that sounds great. And as if to signal the end of the conversation, she leans in and kisses me. The rest of the night is not spent worrying about exams, but banging our waifu.